CLR James is a central figure in the independences of Africa and the Caribbean. But if he did no more than the book he wrote once, very important book, called Black Jacobins. And when I was teaching that book in Nairobi, and I still say it even today, that if I had one book, if I had the power to make every African black person or every progressive person, it's one book I would, if I had the power to recommend one book, it will be the Black Jacobins, okay, by CLR James. This book, as you know, talked about the Haitian independence, the only politically successful, slavery in history. It has never been done before. Okay, so if you think of the first African people's liberated territory, actually it's Haiti, not Ghana. Ghana came afterwards. Haiti was there before, and the person who really captured the drama of Haiti and its centrality in the politics of Africa, the Caribbean, and even the politics of Europe and America was James in the Black Jacobins. Something which he says in the book, that in the book, he had also Africa in mind. The book, I think, was first published in 1998, and he said, I wrote it with also Africa in mind, because he knew that if you read it, they would realize if people of Haiti, under the most adverse of conditions, could rise up and get their independence, what they did could also be done in Africa and elsewhere. The solar tax was very, very important. But in his own right, he worked, not only with international progressive movements or social movements, but literally he also worked with nationalists like Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Du Bois, and so on. He was part of the Pan-African movement and consciousness, But for us Kenyans in particular, for this committee, although he was not there at the formation of the Kenya Committee, in our very first meeting of the committee for the release of political prisoners in Kenya, CLR James was present, and he spoke, okay? And for other activities we organized, he was part of that. But even more important, he was always part of the General Rose's International Festival of Black, Radical, and Third World Books, fair. Okay? So he was a presence in London, but he was a presence in history. But now we are privileged that we are interacting with him in London. So we could learn a little bit from his wisdom. A remarkable man in every possible way. Yeah.
Someone spread the rumor that it was actually CLR James who advised you not to go back to Kenya.
Okay, I can tell you what happened was that I met, I was due, to be very frank, I had sworn, and in writing in my book, Detained, which is about my prison experiences, I had said that I had sworn never to go into exile. Okay? It's in writing, it's there, Now, what happened was when I went to London, I was going for the launch of my books. And I know I was due to return to Kenya, July 31st, but I was going to go to Kenya after the committee had been formed, the one we're talking about, but I was going to go back anyway. Okay? Now, James actually pleaded literally with me, and I remember his words clearly. He said, if you go back, they are going to kill you the way they killed Walter Rodney. Those were his words. He was always very blunt. He didn't mean it. Now, what was interesting was I still wanted to go back until I actually literally, almost like somebody had heard him warn me. There was a coup attempt in Kenya and so on. Anyway, I got a message that the Moi regime, or rather a red carpet, awaited me at Jomo Kenyatta Airport on my return. Okay? And the words were very clear. I didn't need a literal interpreter to tell me what a red carpet meant under those circumstances. When even some of the people I used to work with in Kenya, like Ngugi, the late Ngugi, had to flee to not Zanzibar, but Zimbabwe, ahead of a group which had been sent to assassinate him. So I knew what red carpet meant awaiting for me. So anyway, I stayed on in London. Of course, I was in exile for many years, but I can say it's true, CLR James did sit me down and tell me precisely those words.